Today I'm going to show you the best Lava Hound decks in the game and how to play them, because Lava Hound is going to dominate this season, and I mean dominate. It's going to be great. Excellent balance changes. The Evo Zap is coming in about a week as well, which are going to make lava way better as well. I mean, the balance changes obviously nerf a lot of lava counters. I'll go over those again in tomorrow's video when I show more gameplay, because, you know, the balance changes haven't actually hit yet. So today is just kind of a filler video, I guess, where I can show you the best decks. And it won't be the greatest video to like explain in depth on each deck. I will do separate videos on each deck in the future. So make sure to hit the sub button if you don't want to miss any content. We're actually live on YouTube every day, so you can stop by the streams and join our Discord community as well. Link is in the description. All right, enough promo. We are going to be facing Boulder, Phoenix, Arrows. I mean E-Giant. Okay, well that was answered pretty quickly. It is not E-Giant. We got Goblin Giant Rage, which is, you know, popular. Goblin Giant is getting a 3% health nerf. Yay, 3% health nerf, yippee. So I don't know how much it's going to be in the meta, but I think it will still be in the meta, because Goblin Giant is literally put a bunch of broken cards on a deck and slap a Goblin Giant with the Rage in there. So, I mean, that's pretty much what this is. Am I recording? Okay, I am. I had to make sure. I'm sorry. But yeah, Classic Lava is especially good against these types of decks. You got to make sure you're being, as you can see, I haven't gone with a lava push, and we're almost a double elixir. Haven't gone in with the lava push. We're kind of just waiting to just, I guess, examine the kind of situation, examine the deck, and build a strategy. So we're just focusing and playing defense for a lot of the beginning of games. And when I get tilted, I start playing really aggressively in single, and that's exactly what you don't want to do. You want to be as passive as possible. And obviously, if you catch your opponent in a bad cycle, or they're playing a cycle deck or something, and you have Tombstone in your hand with spells and Balloon, you could probably go lava early in the game. The best bet is to just not do that. We could just be passive. The Lavaloon's better in double elixir because we can actually afford to play defense and offense at the same time, which is exactly why we like to play passively. So as you can see here, we're going to heavily punish people that don't have a fireball. He has Arrows, Rage, so I mean, obviously you can see we're currently dominating this guy, and we actually want to kill this fisherman so the egg doesn't respawn. It's just a little tiny thing. I don't really think we have to worry about that with only 20 seconds left in the game, but I mean, that's pretty simple. Against decks like this, obviously it's going to get more complicated when you're facing cycle decks and graveyard and whatnot, but against beatdown, Classic Lava is great. You just want to focus on being passive, only going lava when they can't pressure you immediately. So like, as you could see at the beginning of double elixirs when I went lava. I am going to do more in-depth guides in the future, so don't feel overwhelmed or anything. Next up, we have Lavaloon, Eye Drag, Skelly Drag, Snowball, Bomber, Night Bomber. It's typically called the friend deck. Well, actually, I don't even know if it's called that. I call it that. I don't know why I call it that, because, I mean, Friend is literally not even the best player with his own deck. Dominic is, so I don't know why I call it that, but whatever. It's a bit more of a single elixir offensive deck, given that, you know, we just simply don't have defense in this deck. Obviously, the Inferno Dragon is going to be a big bailout card. It's going to get us a ton of value. That's kind of the general strategy with this deck. You go lava due to your lack of defense. You almost want your opponent to pressure you in the opposite lane, because you don't have big spells in this deck, so you're not able to get rid of big troops. So you kind of want them to pressure you, and then the whole goal is to go Lavaloon or Lava Skelly Drags and take a tower, and then your opponent ends up not taking a tower because you used either the Bomber or the Inferno Dragon to basically play a little bit of like prevent defense. Your whole goal is to not lose the tower or not get 3-crowned in certain spots. I actually didn't know he was back to bats there. Not a great Balloon on my part. And actually, you know, we're still winning by a large margin in my opinion. Probably should have gone with the right lane, but it is what it is. This deck requires very smart timing. That's the biggest thing with this deck. We just basically, like, if you use your knight, you have no ground defense. That is this deck in a nutshell. So like here, we're not going to go lava, because if I go lava, he's going to go prince, he's going to go mega knight, we're going to die. That's it. So you have to be very, I guess, aware of what your opponent has for pressuring. And we're actually going to use Arrow Snowball, which is a 5 for 2 elixir trade that I love doing. Yay. God, that's not a lot of damage. That Prince didn't do a lot. I mean, hey, I think we take... unfortunately, we don't take, but I mean, we are still in a good spot, I think. Like, I mean, yeah, I like this spot. The Inferno Dragon actually kills the entire bandit. We could just bomber. He's probably not expecting this. Yeah. People at lower ranges, even people at high ranges, sometimes don't expect the bomber randomly. So, you can go arrows up here. Pretty simple. And we're back to a knight, which is just going to be a meat shield for this prince. That's literally the only reason we need him. We'll go bomber for these as well. And that's kind of nice. We're playing good defense. I mean, as much defense as I can. And now, as you can see, we're just going to go balloon. We're going to snowball to predict bats. He doesn't go bats. What a prune. Okay, we don't get a hit there, but now all we need is like an arrows. Or, you know, I have an even better thing. Who needs arrows when we have the Evo Larry? The Evo Barry. Yeah, he's just going to end this here. Oh, yeah. Poor timing as well. That's beautiful. That's getting nerfed, but like it would still hit the tower there. So we would have just been able to snowball and win anyways. So nice. All right, so kind of similar, it's more similar to the friend deck is Rakan's Lavaloon Miner deck, which was not being played because it only had one Evo, and now Zap is coming out in a week, so it will officially be back. Now, I'm going to play both of these decks, I mean Classic Lava and Rakan's deck. I have I'm going to be pushing on 2 accounts, I got Lava maxed on both accounts, I can play whatever to show you guys what's good. So I'm going to do a lot of testing to make sure I get you guys the right decks. Here is just a general like overview. These are the decks that would be used and are probably the best for you to use. As far as future videos on those go, obviously I'll come out with those when I come out with those, hopefully soon. Obviously the Evo Zap is still a week away, so but yeah, I mean, this deck kind of plays similarly to the last deck, except a little bit different. You want to be a slightly more aggressive, and the fact that you have a miner actually allows you to do a lot more offense than the last deck, because you actually do have the miner, which is going to give you some pretty solid connections. I'm not going to lie, it's going to get your balloon to the tower. The problem is the defense is lacking, of course, but eye drag and barbs, very powerful. You just need to make sure you're timing them well. I guess timing is also a big thing with this deck. You know, it was a big thing with the last deck. It's just they don't have good defense. If you go like try and play defense against an opponent, you're not going to be able to defend, because if they focus on offense, you are not going to be able to defend their pushes no matter what they're playing, unless it's a cycle deck, because they don't push, they just, you know. God, I don't even want to, it's ruining my mood thinking about Minor Poison cycle. But anyways, this is how we play this deck. Just going to go in heavy on offense. Timing, he just went in with this push, so now we have a golden opportunity to go in, and that's pretty much it. Although, this isn't the case for a lot of matchups. Usually you want to wait till they go in for you to go in. That's generally what you do. Also, try and space out your Inferno Dragon and your Barbs. If you can, you want to try and make sure that you always have one of them at least, so that when you go Lava, you can play, that's actually a lot of King Tower damage, oh my goodness, so that you can play one of them at all times in case something goes haywire. But we're just going to go with a nice Barb Zap here, and the whole goal, we're not saving this tower. It's not happening. I wish it would, but it's not happening. The Evo Archers ruin it for us. So what we're going to do is not get 3 crowned. I think we kill these. Okay, we are no longer getting 3 crown. Now we go in on offense. He has minions, so okay. We just wait for this to shoot, and then it will target the miner. You know, 2,000 damage. What is 2,000 damage? 2,000 damage don't matter. You got to sack a lot of damage with this deck. If you want to play it, practice on focusing on which cards you should sack and which ones you shouldn't sack. I'll go more in depth on that in a future Rakan deck video. Okay, for our final deck, it's kind of weird. I was debating on either running an Evo Valk or this deck, but I'm running this deck. It's the one Rakan actually finished like, geez, what was it, top 20 last season with? And it's kind of a weird deck. I'm not gonna lie, it's like a mix between Rakan's deck and Friend's deck, but you like blend it together and get this weird Evo Bats mush thingy, which is really dominant against cycle decks. And you're going to be able to outplay Beatdown as well, because your cycle and Snowball is going to allow you to 3 crown race. I wouldn't recommend playing this deck. If you have, okay, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't recommend maxing this deck if you don't already have it leveled. we're going to predict something because he's playing like he has something to play in the middle. Thank you very much. We're just going to go snowball. Oh, you have a wizard. Okay. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend maxing this deck if you don't already have it maxed. If you do have it maxed, go ahead and give it a try. There's no harm, no foul. But this is the type of deck that is good in like a meta. Like right now, the meta makes this deck good, so that's why people are playing it. Recon, that's why it makes it good. Ooh, that was a nice miner. He responded with a pretty nice miner. I'm going to go with my own miner in the back to protect these bats. He probably zaps, but the bomber is going to get some good damage here. Yeah, that's not going to do it. But yeah, I mean, you should consider playing this deck, definitely. That's why I'm putting it on here. I'm not going to give you guys bad decks. I promise. I wouldn't do that just for views. Come on, guys. I genuinely, I wouldn't do that to you guys. But it's a weird deck. I may do a video on it. I'm debating if I will do a video on it because it is really weird. I don't even know if it's going to be out of the meta, but this is something that looks at it will. If there's a cycle dominant meta, this will be the meta deck for Lava. One of them at least. Because the last season there was like 3 Lava players in the top 200. It was actually down to 2 with like 4 or 5 hours left in the season. So it was really bad at one point. But yeah, I mean, basically, you're just going to play it really offensively. Making sure that the number one thing is to not leave your lavas hanging. That is bad for multiple reasons. First, let me explain what I mean by that. If you go lava, back up the lava. If you go lava, you can play bats, you can play bomber on defense. Don't do more than that. Obviously, each situation is unique, but generally, if you go lava, you need to focus your time and elixir on that lava push. So time it well so that you don't have to play a bunch of defense immediately after, but also making sure that while we are... Oh, what is that bomber? Hello? Okay, but I mean, making sure that... I have to give him the BM here, sorry. Making sure that we are timing it well and making sure that I have my right defensive cards. I need to have my bomber and I need to have my Inferno Dragon before I go lava. And that's pretty much the rule of thumb that I would give it. Make sure you try and do that. But yeah, I mean, we're just going to focus on an easy win here. And using the miner and the snowball actually allow you to beat things like the wizards, executioners, Inferno Dragons. Big things like that you can actually kill with the miner and the snowball. So that's why you need to make sure you're spending all of your elixir on lava pushes, because you need to be able to afford Lavaloon, miner, snowball, stuff like that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great rest of your day and stay tuned for tomorrow's balance change update.